Thank you for joining us for our webinar, How to Choose the Right Financial Planning and Control Solution for NetSuite. Today's webinar is sponsored by Piango. I'm Mark Brousseau, President of Brousseau & Associates. I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Mike Caniff, co-founder and CEO of Piango, and Saptarshi Bose, Solutions Advisor for NetSuite. So why are we here today? Well, chances are you're planning, budgeting, and forecasting. Well, it's slow, inefficient, maybe even disconnected from the rest of your business. And if this is the case, you're not alone. Studies show that businesses across numerous industries typically need 30 days or longer and at least 3 cycles to approve their annual budget. This creates a lot of overhead for finance and other business functions. Additionally, monthly or quarterly forecasting, well, it's often done manually, and results are often unreliable and quickly outdated due to fast-changing markets and complexity, especially in today's tough economy. Spend management and control, however, well, they're essential to navigating times like these. Organizations need to be able to make fast, data-driven decisions. And inflexible planning and budgeting and forecasting processes, well, they negatively impact your ability to grow and to respond to market conditions. 62% of businesses have experienced lower revenues because of the economic fallout of the pandemic. Many other businesses are experiencing lower profits. Some are even having cash flow issues. There's no telling when customer demand will rebound. Against this backdrop, it makes sense that 2/3 of businesses expect to reduce their spending, but weak financial planning and control processes, they're making that hard for many businesses. Planning, budgeting, and forecasting are 3 key pillars to successfully navigating tough times. But despite its importance, financial planning and control is easier said than done for most businesses. Today, many organizations are struggling with cumbersome spreadsheet-based processes and workflows. They have limited data quality and limited integration of their ERP, CRM, and other important systems. And they complain of a lack of flexibility and ease of use for finance and business users. You really need 4 things to effectively manage your financial planning, budgeting, and control. First, you need the right data. Financial planning requires good quality data. In the past, finance departments have often relied on data entry and manual report creation. This doesn't cut it anymore, folks. Second, you need real-time reporting, not near time, not what you did last week. An organization needs a clear understanding of where their finances stand right now. As transactions are recorded, the general ledger must be updated. You need complete visibility, not good visibility, not partial visibility, complete visibility. In addition to more granular and more frequently updated finance data, we need complete data from across the enterprise. For example, our decision makers need insights into spend from the point of purchase requisition, not from somewhere down the line. And finally, you need the ability to do what-if modeling. Decision makers must understand the impact of changes in spending or budgeting. And therein lies the rub. Organizations don't have these tools available to them. In many cases, they're using a hodgepodge of semi-automated processes and systems. Well, full automation can help. Automated financial planning, budgeting, and control solutions automate labor-intensive planning and budgeting processes. It centralizes companies' finance and operational data. Automation improves financial planning, budgeting, control in 4 important ways. First, it provides transparency. An automated finance planning, budgeting, forecasting solution, it provides greater consistency and transparency of critical information. Second, it allows for faster decision-making. Automation drives higher forecasting and reporting frequency, accuracy, and granularity. Third, automation provides complete visibility. It gives your finance and business users the reports they need at their fingertips. Complete visibility into spend across the business, well, it also improves your financial results. And fourth, Automation helps you more tightly manage your spending. It allows for checking a budget availability before vendor commitment, visibility into spend from the point of purchase requisition, and complete visibility and control across the enterprise. With an automated solution, well, purchases are checked for budget availability prior to vendor commitment. Workflows can be established for any proposed purchases that exceed budget availability, and decision makers can see spend in the procurement pipeline. When you have a structured set of spend management processes, this also helps your organization more easily maintain expense plans, and it keeps your spending aligned with your business strategy. Automation also provides the ability to more effectively manage CapEx and OpEx reporting and amortizations. And an automated financial planning and budgeting control solution gives your organization the ability to forecast faster, in more detail, and with more accuracy and insight. And solutions that are native in NetSuite provide bi-directional insights and control. These are the types of insights and controls that your organization needs right now. So the question is, how can your organization achieve these benefits? Well, it all starts with automation, but not just any automation. You need the right technology mix to deliver stronger insights and highly informed business decisions. You need solutions that combine several key technologies. First, you need foundational systems, such as your NetSuite ERP. In many organizations, these systems are the backbone to structuring your data. The key to these foundational systems is seamless integration with the systems that feed them. So now we have that synchronized data and that 360-degree visibility. Second, you need budgetary control. Organizations need automatic checking of budget availability prior to vendor commitment. You need visibility into spend from the point of requisition, and you need complete visibility into budget performance across the enterprise. You also need reporting engines. Organizations need solutions that automate the generation and the reconciliation reports and provide 24/7 access to spend and budget information. And finally, you need advanced analytics. This helps you process data into information, providing that rich analysis, providing you with the insights that you're looking for. With these capabilities, now you're able to be better positioned to improve financial planning and control. And I don't want you to overlook the importance of having budgetary control in all of this. A budgetary control solution provides you with the checks and the balances you need to keep your spend under control. So the question is, are you ready to begin transforming your financial planning, budgeting, and control function? If you are, you're not alone. More NetSuite customers are planning to deploy automation to achieve the granular visibility and the spend control that they need. The question many of them have is, how do we choose the right financial planning, budgeting, and control solution? Well, our panelists are going to provide you with their expert advice for doing just that. And the first question that many of our attendees today might have, Saptarshi, is what are the stakeholder benefits of an automated financial planning and control solution?
Thanks, Mark. I would say key benefits which can be explicitly called out are reducing the budgeting and forecasting cycle times, tight integration with a native ERP, which gives more control and accuracy over the data, not only from the actuals perspective, but also from the perspective of the budgets and the forecasts, which are created based on those actuals. Organization alignment, I think this is a key factor which we sometimes forget, like increased collaboration within different segments of the business who are typically involved in a FP&A process, like say finance, operations, commercials, HR. Now this sort of a platform which is automated and connected to a source ERP can result in better visibility from exec level, as well as from the level of the operational people who are really doing the stuff. And the most important thing I would say is to provide time to finance to do better decision making and analysis rather than collecting information from different departments, right? Which an automated and a standardized platform can kind of eliminate on day one. So basically, it's empowering your business to own their budgets, to own their forecast, and then finance can do or spend time to do better analysis. So I think these are the four key pillars from purely choosing a financial planning platform perspective. But control side, I think, Mike, if you can pitch in.
Yeah, thanks, Saptarshi. So yeah, from the control perspective, again, we could have a great plan in place for the overall organization spending for the year, but without being able to automate the control part, we may end up with unexpected surprises. So we could have, as Mark mentioned at the beginning, before the vendor payment is committed, we can check that to make sure that an organization is not going over budget. That's a key point throughout a procurement process to make sure that these unexpected surprises don't happen.
One of the ways that a financial planning, budgeting, and control solution helps organizations better manage their financial health is through some key features. Saptarshi, what are some of the key features an organization should look for in a financial planning and control solution?
When we are talking about a financial planning and control solution, we are basically looking beyond GL-based budgets, which native ERP can provide, like NetSuite can provide. So we are moving towards more driver-based, assumption-based, trend-based, statistical forecasting capability-based models, right? So modeling is a key factor which these sort of tools should provide. Like you should have trend-based calculation capability. You should have capabilities to do statistical forecasting. You should have capabilities to do driver-based calculations, which of course leads to not only a short-term forecast, but also long-term, like the what-if scenario modeling and those sort of things, which are extremely, extremely important in current times. And we are realizing that importance now more than ever before. So what-if scenario modeling, which basically stems out of those key modeling features. I think the next thing I would talk about is a native integration to the source ERP like NetSuite. The NetSuite planning and budgeting like tool provides us a native integration or a native sync, which gives more control on the data. And the third factor, I think, is ability to analyze as well as plan through well-known interfaces. It is not like that we always provide you a web interface to do stuff. We can provide you Excel interface. We can provide you a PowerPoint interface. Like the Excel interface is something which all finance users like. So what if such a tool provides you an Excel interface, but takes all the vices away, which Excel brings to the table, like what we have on NetSuite planning and budgeting, like say Smart View. So these sort of things. So I would say modeling, what if scenario, which stems out of modeling, a native sync with the ERP solution like NetSuite, and familiar interfaces, alternative interfaces like Excel to do not only reporting, but also actually plan stuff from within Excel.
Mike, what would you say are the most important features to look for in an automated solution for financial planning and control?
I think one of the key things is the ability to look at the budget or to track the budget in a variety of different dimensions. And within NetSuite, those are typically called segments. So you want to be able to slice and dice the data that you have by the different types of segments and support custom segments that might be specific to that organization or to your organization. You want to make sure that if you've done something special within NetSuite, that the budgeting tool that you're working with can support that, and maybe even support the ability to separate the standard GL segments like say account, department, and location, and budget by a completely different set of segments, and then be able to automate that process, because that of course is the next step. Is once I've defined that budget exactly how I want it to look, then we need to be able to enforce the budget check throughout a procurement process. So starting at the initial requisition that maybe goes on through the NetSuite Employee Center, we want to be able to pick up that expense and check that against the budget and have it flow all the way through to the vendor bill process, but also pick up, say, expense reporting or journal entries that could potentially impact your expenses as well. So you want to make sure you have coverage throughout all of your expense-related transactions in the ERP system.
Mike, what's the problem with the way most organizations are doing their reporting today when it comes to spend management?
I think a challenge can be the complexity of the tool itself, in that, is it an easy to use tool to create reports and access the data? Once I've identified the budget lines and whatever the actuals are, can we drill down to the transaction level to see what kind of transactions are impacting the budget? Can I create pivot tables and ideally do that within the ERP system? Although, as Saptarshi mentioned, we want to be able to export that data to Excel because everyone has Excel and the ability to use the built-in reporting tools there. So I think the ease of use of the reporting side of things is an important factor in choosing a tool.
Saptarshi, there's an old saying that cash is king, but data is the trump card. How important is reporting in all of this in your mind?
Well, reporting is extremely important because when we are talking about a ERP system like NetSuite, it is about transactional reporting or say the reporting which gets audited. But what about management reporting? Management reporting is where a tool like NetSuite Planning and Budgeting comes into picture. And it's a less talked about feature, I would say. But you know what? This sort of a tool can provide full-scale management reporting, which is say your actual, we budget, we forecast, that sort of report across all the different segments or the dimensions which Mike briefly mentioned, which are basically pivoting the entire reporting and booking processes. Now, there are different mediums through which reporting can be delivered. If we are talking about board pack quality reporting, it can be delivered through PowerPoint interfaces. It can be delivered through PDF interfaces. If we are looking for more ad hoc analysis sort of stuff, then it can be delivered through the Excel Smart View interface. And then online analysis, that is also a key factor for finance users, if I may say. It can be delivered through dashboards, which are totally self-serviced. It can be delivered through something called Infolet, which are like executive view of how the organization is behaving. So there are different means and ways through which a full management reporting pack can be delivered out of this kind of a tool.
It's safe to say, Saptarshi, that you believe that it's important that a financial planning and control solution be native in NetSuite. Why is that? What's the risk of a solution that isn't?
Absolutely. I think it stems from the structure. When I say structure, I mean the segments. It can be, any standard or custom segments within NetSuite. And because the budget, not only the budget, the actuals are pivoted around these, right? Like say department, your chart of account, location, or any other segments which are there. So these structures are typically mimicked as dimensions within a planning tool. Now, in case I have to manage these in two different places, it's a nightmare. If I add a new department today, if I add a new location, if I add a new GL code, it should sync up with your budgeting solution, which is, if it is disjointed from the ERP system, it's a nightmare. You have to maintain things in two different places. Now, a tool like NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, it is all auto-synced. It is synced through the native integration. So that's a key. Another very important thing which I would highlight is when you are reporting variance, you need to sometimes go back within the source ERP from the planning tool and see why that variance is happening. And that is where the drill through feature comes into picture. You can actually drill back to the transactions from the planning tool screens and explain variances when reporting to the exec board. So these two are the key features. Data, yes, data quality is obviously important. So if you are reporting through a native ERP, the data quality is granted. It's a golden source of your actuals, which drives your budgets. So three key elements: structure, data, and drill back. I think these are the three most important things where the native solution is always handy to use.
And Mike, a native solution also provides a tremendous amount of control. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I'll put on my IT hat here for a second. And the idea is that if I have just a single database where all of my transactions and actuals and et cetera are happening, that's much easier to maintain than having to spread that across multiple systems. Same thing with security. If I have a single security model for all of the users, so then I can assign roles to say who can review budgets and do budget inquiries and things like that versus who are performing the transactions, and I don't have to maintain security in two different systems. And as well as from a control perspective, we need to make sure that we're using the ERP's control workflow process. So when I approve a purchase order, that's a natural step within an ERP system to go from a pending to an approved state. So we don't want to have to duplicate that logic in a separate control platform to verify that are we still within budget. So you want to have that all tightly integrated within the same native platform.
What's the risk if you don't?
Again, the risk there, it's that single version of truth statement about the data, right? So that if I have budget data in system X and also within NetSuite ERP, if they get out of sync or if there's a time lag or if one of the systems happens to be down, then you have trouble completing the procurement process.
Mike, there's no question that organizations are looking for more reporting capabilities in a financial planning and control solution. So how do you determine whether a solution really offers what it is you need?
Part of this deals with the reporting tools that are built into the ERP system. So if we go with that as kind of a baseline, that especially in the NetSuite environment, you have the built-in reports, you have saved searches, and a variety of ways to access that data. You want to make sure that the control-related information is part of that system, that reporting system. And I think that's one of the key factors.
Saptarshi, what's the most important thing to look for in a solution to determine whether it can offer the reporting you want?
I would say the visibility, not only from the perspective of the executives, but also the operational people who are actually running the show, right? So both kind of reporting from management perspective would be absolutely needed or mandatorily to be provided in this sort of a platform, such that it gives a summarized view as well as a detailed view, which can be then linked to a source ERP as well. And I already mentioned the different mediums through which such reports can be delivered. So I believe these are the things I would look for.
Mike, what advice would you give to organizations that are looking at deploying an automated financial planning and control solution? How should they go about evaluating potential technology partners?
I think one key thing is the certification level that, let's say, the budgeting product or the control product has with the ERP system. And if we're talking, of course, about NetSuite, that's the Built for NetSuite program that is in place where it requires every partner to be certified with each release. So that's a twice a year certification process. And then within that overall program, there is a Built for NetSuite native application. And I think that's really what we're trying to focus on in this webinar is the idea of the control solution being part of a native ERP solution. And so then having that native badge is important. And then, of course, from just the business side of things, how long has that company been in existence? How long have they been a NetSuite partner? And what is their focus? Is that company providing a service for several different ERP systems, such as Microsoft Dynamics and SAP or whatever, or are they focused on the NetSuite platform? So I think those are all the variety of different key factors there in evaluating a provider.
Saptarshi, single biggest piece of advice you'd give to an organization when they're evaluating potential technology partners for an automated financial planning and control solution?
I think I would echo what Mike has said, but the important thing is experience, in working in this sort of a space, how quickly they can deploy things. Reusability is an important factor. So basically, we can have larger partners also coming in, but what we have seen that smaller partners who are focused towards NetSuite, they deliver this kind of solutions better because of their focus. And I think focus is the key I would look for rather than too much diversity.
Saptarshi, we know that resources are tight in finance departments and IT departments. We know there's lots of competing priorities. The question becomes, how hard is it to deploy a financial planning and control solution in this kind of environment?
Oh, it can be 3 weeks. So with the pre-built sort of packages that a tool like NetSuite Planning and Budgeting provides, you can actually get up and running within 3 weeks. And then depending upon the scope of a particular project or a particular use case, that can go up to 8 or 9 weeks. But within 3 weeks, you can just get up and running. So it's not that hard.
So Mike, is it not that hard to automate financial planning and control?
Yeah, I would agree with Saptarsi. It isn't that difficult. Where we found maybe the biggest time efforts is putting together the budget initially. A lot of times people will, reorganize how they want to do budgets once they go through a more formal budget planning and control process. So that takes some time. And then, of course, testing. You want to make sure that all of your business processes are tested. But from like an implementation or installation perspective, that can take 2 to 3 weeks, and then we can be available for going through the whole testing phase.
So, Mike, what's one approach that organizations can take to automating financial planning, budgeting, and control?
I think combining the products that we're looking at here on the screen, the idea here is that you have a full plan to report life cycle, including the proactive control that Piango can provide. So, we have a world-class planning tool with the NetSuite planning and budgeting, plus what we can deliver with Piango, and that provides the full life cycle so that you can get a handle on your spend management within the company.
So how could someone learn more about Piango's solution, Mike?
Definitely visit our website, piango.com, and feel free to reach out to me. We'd be happy to do a presentation and discuss your budgeting and planning and control needs.
And that will be our final word. Mike, Saptarsi, thank you so much for an excellent presentation today and for sharing your insights with us. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to join us. On behalf of Piango, this is Mark Brousseau, thanking you. Hope to talk to you again soon.